Over the last 10 years, ladies and gents, I've built a network with purpose. It's not always about investing in property. It's about creating cash flow. It's about starting businesses. It's about feeding families. It's about living your why, living your purpose.
Standing here today feels like a full circle moment, a moment that honors not just an award I received, but a journey that reshaped my life, my leadership, and my vision of impact.
I don't think that there is a single one event which captures the imagination of an investor like an event like this.
I want to see people gain confidence and actually be able to invest in properties and really gain a meaningful impact in their lives and be able with confidence to come out and invest and get more involved in the economy and create opportunities for themselves.
We're so honored. It's such a privilege for us to continue our partnership that we have with SAPN. We are so proud to be able to see some of the achievements that we have had tonight.
Today was so impactful for me as we launched because we saw different levels of winners from the previous Investor of the Year, from beginners, from newcomers, from youth up to big leagues. For me, it's an inspiration to those that were fearful in entering Investor of the Year.
I want to encourage everybody to enter for the 2026 Investor of the Year and just see how your story can be told to the rest of South Africa.
It is phenomenal. The stories that we hear today, and it's so inspiring that this platform helps entrepreneurs to leapfrog into new opportunities.
I encourage you to really come in and invest and really enter into Investor of the Year because it can really change your life. Just go ahead, take the plunge and get in and register.
The stories of the winners has been awesome. It's inspiring, and that's exactly what SAPN is about. We are very proud to be associated with SAPN as a company, and we look forward to many, many more collaborations moving forward.
Since my journey with SAPN, I've been on a growth path. I have met a lot of people who are also willing to invest in my deals. I have had doors open for me, more opportunities, and I just love being a part of the SAPN community.
It was fantastic to listen to the amazing stories that these category winners and contestants shared with all of us. So this is a fantastic journey.
We are so looking forward to 2026 Investor of the Year. We want to see who's going to take away all the prizes and who's going to be the main champion. So please get your entries ready and submit.
Guys, what an evening here at Villa Bianca, the launch of 2026 Investor of the Year. We have partners, sponsors, previous entrants, even future entrants entering. This is such a great initiative for all South Africans in the property space. So I urge you, take that next step into Investor of the Year, build your profile, because remember, credibility meets opportunity. It's not always who you know, it's who knows you.
Where credibility meets opportunity. A lovely good afternoon, ladies and gents. Coming live from Johannesburg. I'm super excited to be here with all of you. I do see there's a couple of people that have joined. Please let me know where you are joining me from, ladies and gents. Are you watching from Bloemfontein, Cape Town? Are you down in Johannesburg? Please let me know down below. Ladies and gents, for those that have not been with us on our Investor of the Year Thursdays, my name is Daniel Kazadi. For purposes of this conversation, I'm going to be one of the judges. And as I welcome you all to round number 2 judging, in my day-to-day, I'm a property investor, property developer as well, with focusing primarily on the affordable housing space. And I'm super excited to be here with you all. And the reason we are here this lovely afternoon is for round number 2 Investor of the Year judging. And for those of you that have never heard of the competition, this is the 5th edition. We are running this competition where we started in the year 2018, and we are all system go. Less than 3 weeks away to the 19th of September at Maslow Hotel in Sandton, where we will all be crowning the overall Investor of the Year. A special thank you to Absa Bank, who's our headline partner and sponsor, that believed in this vision once more and traveled throughout the country with us, hearing individual stories and investor stories. We are going to be hearing more stories later today, but a special thank you to Absa Bank, as well as all of our lovely partners and sponsors, which I'll get to in a second. I'd like to share with you all, ladies and gents, that the overall winner for this year's competition will be winning a cash prize of 100,000 Rand, which is the largest in Investor of the Year history. A special thank you to all of our business partners and sponsors for this said competition. A special thank you, ladies and gents, to SA Host that is going to be presented and represented by Miguel Martins. A special thank you to Sapin Prepaid with Bevan and the team, Tal Africa, BSA Law, Absa Bank, Tough Capital, Lightstone, Zweshu, Framework Integrated Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely journey. And they form part, ladies and gents, of your power team when you are looking to invest in property. But I'll be talking more about them a bit later on. But like I said, ladies and gents, this is the first time in Investor of the Year history where we are taking you through the entire journey with us. You were with us in round number 1 when these contestants presented to you all. You're going to be with us through round number 2, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to be with us in the final evening, the final gala dinner, where we will be all crowning the overall Investor of the Year on the 19th of September at the Maslow Hotel in Sandton. It's going to be an unforgettable event. It's going to be a black tie event. Tickets are selling out quite quickly. Each ticket is selling for 2,297 Rand. However, there's special discounts if there's more than one of you, if there's a couple, or if you would like to book an entire table, please email Alani at sapropertynetwork.com to get the prizes. And you can also scan the QR codes that you are seeing to ensure that you get to be there and form part of what will be happening and the overall winner. Ladies and gents, without further delay, I'd like to bring up, like I said, the whole point of the session is to have lovely individuals that will be presenting their round 2 deals and the likes. I'm going to be introducing some of the judges that are going to help me during this afternoon to enable us to go through everything we need to go through smoothly. The first judge is going to be none other than Mr. Miguel Martins, who is the founder of SA Host. I'm going to just ask Miguel to unmute his mic, as well as switch on his camera. Miguel, how's it going, my brother?
Daniel, so excited to be here. I think this is a fantastic awards event. I love how it celebrates investors and what they're doing out there to get into this investment space, to grow their portfolios, and super chuffed to be a judge on the Investor of the Year Awards.
No, I appreciate it, Miguel. Thank you so much. Ladies and gents, the next judge that we have together with us is none other than Mr. Bevan Thomas from Sapin Prepaid. I'm going to also bring Bevan up front now. Just bringing him up 1 second. There we go. Bevan, how's it going, my brother?
Very good, Daniel. Thank you. I'm also super excited to be here. I mirror the same sentiments that Miguel has, where this platform of Investor of the Year is such a phenomenal platform for people to build their brand as a property investor, because the only way you continue to scale your portfolio is by having some kind of brand and being able to tap into other people's money. There's always going to be a point where you will plateau as a result of what you can access. But through building brand, through something like this Investor of the Year competition, just really is a huge springboard for all of them. So well done to all the contestants. I'm super proud of them.
No, super exciting to have you with us. Ladies and gents, the last judge that we'll have with us is none other than Sam from Sapin Financing. Sam, how's it going?
I'm good, and you, Daniel?
Yes, brother.
Good. Thanks for having me on again, and welcome everyone again to another round of judging. And as Bevan alluded to, if you are in this investment space and you are looking to grow your portfolio, you will need other people's money, and that's where I come in from an institutional finance point of view. I am one of those guys that can help you get money to finance your property deals. But for the purposes of this afternoon, I will be one of the judges, and I really do look forward to hearing each and everyone's stories again, and then just progressing from the first round to this one. Thanks, Daniel.
Perfect. We're super excited to have all of our esteemed judges with us, that all our power team members, ladies and gents, that form part of your investor journey from Miguel and SA Host, like-minded community of Airbnb or short-term accommodation hosts throughout the country. If you would like to join the team, please do email us. Bevan Thomas, he heads up Sapin Prepaid to help you with your developments or multi-lets to manage your utilities. And then there's Samukelo Ndlovu, who's with Sapin Finance, to help you with obtaining financing, whether residential or commercial. So we do have a stacked amount of judges and experience in the room. Ladies and gents, you guys are watching us on our YouTube page as well as our Facebook page. Please do drop us a like, subscribe to our channels as we go towards round number 2 judging. And the first individual that will be judged, ladies and gents, is none other than Mr. Michael Brink. And the rules, ladies and gents, is each contestant is given 15 minutes, and we're going to time it because we've got a lot of contestants that will be judging today. Each contestant is given 15 minutes to go through the entire presentation. The judges will then come up if they've got any sort of questions they would like the audience to talk to or the contestants to address. And then the next contestant comes through. And then what we will be doing next week, we will be announcing which of these contestants have made it to the final round after all due diligence is done by the back office. So it is going to be a lot of information, but you as an audience can also ask your questions. But without further delay, I've got Mr. Michael Brink with us. Michael, how's it going?
Hi, Daniel. I'm fine, thanks, and you? I thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you for the Sapin team. Thank you for you, Daniel. And also thank you for the judges taking time out of your busy schedules to actually judge us. I remember when I was still a few years back, I think 2021, I was still learning about property investing, and I attended different conferences and events, and Miguel Martins was always there talking about property investing and what like Airbnb, and so it somehow makes me nervous to be here. But yeah, thank you guys for taking time, and I'm excited to present the deals.
Now,
Can I
awesome,
start?
my brother, you can start.
Okay.
When you need me to go to the next slide, you'll just say next.
100%. Okay. So Daniel, with this South African Property Investor of the Year competition, I think the timeline was the deals that you did in the past 24 months. So I don't have one deal to present and to zoom in on. The past 18 months, I had the privilege of doing 25 different deals. Every single deal was specifically in student accommodation. All of them are based in Potchefstroom. That is where I stay. I work there as a real estate agent. I basically eat, breathe, sleep property. It's my whole life. And being in the privileged position to be a real estate agent, I also get access to good deals, private deals, deals that never hit the market. So that also gives me quite an advantage as a property investor. So like I said, 25 deals have been done in the last 18 months. All of them are specifically student accommodation in Potchefstroom. We can go to the next slide. So out of the 25 deals, 15 of those properties were bought and are still currently held, generating a quite impressive passive income. 10 of those properties were sold. They were sold for basically making a profit, getting capital to put into other projects and also charity events. So currently I have 128 beds from those 15 properties that have been held. This is just a summary of the 25 deals that have been done. So from that 10 sales, it was a profit of 3.81 million that was made. From the 15 properties that I currently have, it's generating a passive income per year of 2.47 million. That is after the bonds and all the running expenses. So that is the net profit. And then the weighted ROI is 23.3% if you take all the deals together. There is some deals that can do better returns because it still needs a few renovations, or I was just buying the property because I know I can get it at the right price. And when I have the capital available again, I can optimize the property. So the weighted average is 23.3%, and then the weighted cash on cash returns of all the deals is 48.2%. That basically means if I put 1,000 Rand of my own money, I generate a return in that same year of 48% on that of my own money that I've used, not the bank's money. So basically, of all the money that I invest, it takes about 2 years, then I have all that money back again. Then we can go to the next slide. So all of I've sent to the Daniel and the Serpentine all the due diligence and the backup. So this is not figures that were made up. This was the actual figures. It took me quite extensive time to get the actual figures, do the due diligence, get all the admin to prove the deals, but the documents have been submitted. So the strategy that I have as a property investor is, firstly, I find good deals. Like I said, most of the deals are off-market deals. I acquire the properties through bank finance. If I can have my own will, I will always get 100% loan to buy the property. Then the type of properties that I buy, it's always to improve them. So it's undervalued properties, properties that need some work, properties that has the potential to add value to. So I do renovations, I make them nicer. I basically take apartments or houses, convert them into student accommodation. And then also I optimize the properties. So we rezone them, we adjust the building plan so that we comply to all the municipality laws and bylaws. And then also to optimize occupancy. Then after the apartment or house has been renovated, the initial strategy is to keep them, generate that passive income, and if capital is needed for a future project, I take a look at my property portfolio. Then I see where is a good property that I can find and sell again to make some profit, and I can reinvest that capital in future projects, and I use that to scale as well. Many of my deals is also done in partnership with friends, colleagues, and family members. Because, like I think Sam said, you can't use all of your money. Or Bevan also said that you're gonna need other people's money as well. So I do it in partnership as well with other people to allow me to scale. We can go to the next slide. So the 18 months of execution, like I said, 15 of those of the 25 deals, 10 of them has been sold again, 15 of them is hold. It's 11 different entity structures. So typically when I buy a property, I'll use my dad as an example. I'll create a company, and then he's a director, I'm a director, 50-50% ownership. His ownership can be in the entity that he chooses, either another company, his personal name, or a trust. My ownership is usually in my personal name or other company. Then of those 25 deals, of the 15 properties that I still have, the total acquisition cost was 17.06 million. The total renovations that we've done were 4.32 million rand, and we got almost 100% financing on all of the deals. I think there's just one or two deals that we got a 80 or 90% loan. We can go to the next slide. So the next one is I'm gonna focus on my flagship deal. So this is the deal that did the best returns. I'm the proudest of this one. So I'm gonna zoom in on this one for the sake of time. So it's 84 Maria Street in Potchefstroom. So it was, as a real estate agent, I specifically built a relationship with all the property owners in the built or surrounding regions that's close to the university. So it's areas that can specifically work for student accommodation. So this is one of the owners. His wife passed away. They had a kindergarten or a creche that they wanted to sell. It hit the market for 1.49 million. At that stage of time, I was also looking for the next property deal. I didn't initially see, okay, this is a good deal. I was trying to sell it as a real estate agent, but good properties are very scarce because the competition is so wild in Potch. It's not like you have 5 houses to choose from and you get a good investment. You really need to work hard, search hard to find good deals. So I knew that this location was good for a student house. It's just that it needed a lot of work. So basically, I took the risk. I negotiated the deal, got the property for 1.3 million rand, 100% loan from Standard Bank. I'm sorry, Absa, you guys didn't help me there. Nevertheless, the challenging part was I needed, I think it was 680,000 rand for the renovations to convert it into a student house. And I didn't have that capital at the moment. But I knew I can sell one of my student houses to generate that capital. And I knew that the profit or the passive income that this property can generate can help pay off the renovations. So I made a deal with the contractor that the amount can take, or basically get the amount that I owe them can hit interest every single month until I pay them back in full, which allowed me the opportunity to take on this deal. So basically, I bought the property, they did the renovations and everything. I didn't need to put down a deposit. It cost me R0, and the house was finished, I think, in early January, so that students can start occupying by the end of Jan. And I didn't pay, like I said, R1 for the renovations. I made a plan. I sold the property 7 Kutsia to pay back the contractors, and also from the passive income that was generated from this property, I also paid them back. So it's a bit of creative financing with the renovations. And now looking back, that property currently has 22 beds. It's 20 single rooms, 1 sharing room. So it's two students in a sharing room. It generates a yearly income of 966,000 Rand. And after all the expenses and everything, it's 604,000 Rand basically per year. That's after the bond and all the running costs. The net return on this is a 33.3% return. We can go to the next one. So this is a quick summary. 33.3 net return. It's a monthly passive income of about 50,000 Rand per month that this property generates. The cash on cash return is 57.4%. The total acquisition cost is 2.31 million. So if you just quickly think about it, it's 22 students. The total acquisition cost was 2.31 million Rand. It's a deal that makes sense. We can go to the next slide again. So just to sum up that 84 Maria one, that is the property deal that I'm the proudest of, that makes the best returns. And then this is the next slide is my 10 properties that I sold. So some of them are apartments, some of them are houses. This sheet shows the profit that was made on each sale. This is not the gross profit, the net profit after all the renovations and costs, attorney fees, every single thing, rezoning costs that went into a property. So the total net profit of the 10 properties that I sold was 3.81 million Rand. The gross capital growth before cost was 6.14 million Rand, and the average profit per property was 381,000 Rand per property. Per property, and not a single one of these properties was sold at a loss. We made quite a good profit on each of these ones. We can go to the next slide. Then of the 15 properties that I currently have, like I mentioned earlier, it's 128 beds. Of that 128 beds, 82 of them are single rooms and 46 of them are sharing rooms. We are adjusting our portfolio that we are moving more to single rooms than sharing, because that is what the students prefer. Our current occupancy is 94.53%. 95% of our tenants is NSFAS tenants. So the total annual income that this portfolio generates is 2.47 million Rand in passive income. Like I said, that's after all the running expenses, after all the bond requirements per year. So it's a passive income of 2.47 million Rand per year. And the weighted portfolio ROI, that's the net return, is 23.3%. There's 2 highlights. We have our biggest property, which is a full title property, has 25 beds. It's also the largest income producer. I did it in a 50-50 partnership with my sister, Lisa Brink, in a shared entity. Our biggest apartment that we have, apartment it's smaller deals, but it also generates good returns, is Kashetov Unit 13. It was a 3-bedroom apartment that we converted into 5 single rooms, also with a 50-50 partnership with my colleague, and it has a net return of 23.6%. We can go to the next slide. So just a final summary of that. In the past 18 months, 25 deals has been done. So capital profit, once again, 3.8 million Rand. The gross monthly income that I currently generate is 434,000. The net income from those, that's the passive income, is 205,000 Rand per month. Like I said, the yearly passive income is 2.47 million Rand. 128 beds is what produces all of this. And yeah, it's a net return of 23.3%. We can go to the next slide. At the end of the day, my heart and my vision is not just to make money. It's not just to take all the profits for myself. We want to make a difference in our community and in our world. So the proof of this is also given. We feed 250 children per day through a NPO called CRC Cares. So that's where kids get their daily meal from. And also from that property sales, more than 1.5 million Rand has been given to a church building project that also makes a difference in the community. In the students is our clients. If I really want to push the profits and the sales, I can fit in more students in some of the properties. I can make it more inconvenient for them. But at the end of the day, the students is our clients. I want to provide them with a safe, reliable environment where they can easily complete their studies and have a good experience. So for our students, we have weekly support. They have home cell groups, church attendance groups. Transport is provided when needed. And the vision ultimately is to grow this impact where we can feed 1,000 children a day and also host 1,000 students in our student accommodation portfolio. Then we can go to the next slide, please. So vision for the next year, currently 128 beds. That's deals that's done in the past 18 months. In my total portfolio currently, I have just over 150 beds. Those beds are not included into this presentation because it has been done before the timeline of the SAPN Property Investor of the Year. My 12-month target is to grow the portfolio to 200 plus beds, and basically we are on track to do that, and we're going to follow the same strategy. We buy good properties, sell off some of them to generate capital for the next ones, and also to form new partnerships. So that's the vision for the next year. Then we can go to the final slide, please. So the 25 deals was the proof. 200 beds is the next chapter, and we're excited to also continue to share our journey with you. So yeah, that's all from my side, Daniel. The time is a bit limited, so I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Thank you for your time. And if the judges have any questions, I remember the previous time there was a little bit time for Q&A as well.
Okay, yeah, because of time, judges, I'm going to open the floor. If we can quickly get the questions rolling. Does anyone have a question?
Yes, Dan. So just one question, Michael. Great. I mean, very impressive journey, super inspiring. For me, you talk about the future, and I think that's always nice to see how you're stacking your why on this journey. So well done on that. You talk about 1,000 beds into the future. Potchefstroom, you've obviously specialized in that space. Is part of your vision to go to any of the other universities, any other cities? That's my question.
Yes, part of my vision is I'm currently testing the waters in Klerksdorp. There's a TVET college there called Vuselela College. I know that there's about 1,000 students there, and there's a shortage of accommodation. We're testing the waters to see if it's a profitable model that can be followed. So we're buying the house, see if NSFAS works there for us, if the payment systems works for us. So definitely it's not just to stay in Potch, is to identify really towns where there is a need, where we can make a difference. So the next town that we're targeting is Klerksdorp.
Noted, Mix. I think you're muted.
Sorry for that. Michael, thanks for the presentation. Great progress being made, and really moving fast. You mentioned NSFAS. So two parts. Are your current students reliant on the NSFAS payments? And if so, how do you manage that risk of NSFAS?
Okay, so I know that NSFAS, there's some people that's bleeding and having tough times with them. In Potchefstroom specifically, it's where the NSFAS model works. So NSFAS specifically pays the Northwest University, and the Northwest University pays the landlords. Now, the university has a system where if NSFAS payments come in late, because it's a big financial institution as well, they sometimes pay the landlords while they are busy finalizing the payments from NSFAS because they have a big financial reserve. So for the past 5 years, I didn't have 1 year where I had NSFAS payments at the NW of Potchefstroom. So that's why I'm not afraid to take bigger risks or to go for more NSFAS students. I think also if you take a long-term view of South Africa, the government, if NSFAS collapses and it's bankrupt, I think the government will form, either the government will fund the students directly to the universities, or they'll maybe create something new that's not NSFAS, that because the government has a vision to help more students that they're currently helping pass their studies and through university. So I think there might be a year or two that it can get tough, but if we are able to stick through it, there will be a new system or new government program that helps the students complete their studies. So I think if you take a longer view of South Africa, there might be a year or two that it's tough, but it will recover again. And finally, just to say, that's why we're still testing out the waters in Klerksdorp with the NSFAS model before I go all in there. If I see it actually works with one property and we generating good profits, then I'll move over to 3-4 houses to see it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so on my side, I think my question, Michael, is it's lovely what you've built up, right? And you're relying on the joint venture partnership model to sort of enable you to continuously buy, from what I gather, right?
Yes.
With one underlying risk of joint ventures, the partner you're going into business with. What sort of measures have you put in place to protect the overall business from individuals' lives of partners coming in play? Things like exits that a partner might want to impose. For instance, you guys go into business and there's sort of an agreement of what you guys want to do, and life sort of happens and there's a divorce on that end, or for whatever reason the other partner wants to get bought out. What sort of measures have you put in place to protect your overall business with the different risks that comes with joint ventures?
So with that, what we've done is we set out clear boundaries and expectations before we do it. So we put everything pen on paper. We set up agreements that what each party contribute. Let's say we go in 50-50 with financing and capital, then the profit is split 50-50. If we sell the property one day, it's also split 50-50. And also, let's say something happens and the guy wants to sell. So we have a agreed price per bed that we are aiming for on a selling price, that if something happens and we need to sell the property must be sold. So we discussed that before, and for this price that we make arrangements for that. So let's say we buy the property for 1 million rand, renovations is 500,000 rand. And then we say, okay, if something happens and we need to sell this property, the selling price should not be less than 2.5 million rand. So if life happens and we need to sell it, we put it in the market, but the selling price should be at least 2.5 million rand. So we put that in before the partnership is formed, those arrangements.
Okay, perfect. So because of time, colleagues, any other questions? Anyone else? Everyone sorted?
No, on my side, I had one, but it's somewhat answered between yours and Bevan's questions in terms of just expansion and whatnot. So it's okay. We'll pass on that one for now.
Okay, perfect. Michael, thank you so much for your time. All the best. And we will be announcing the finalists, ladies and gents, next week, which of these investors are going to be joining us on the 19th of September. If you would like to see Michael, ladies and gents, we are going to be putting out a poll for you to vote as well during the week. Please do vote for Michael Brink if his story resonated with you and you would like to see him become a finalist. Michael, thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate your time. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. So, ladies and gents, the next contestant that will be joining us today is none other than Amanda Stone, investor from Cape Town. Amanda, similar to Michael, can you, number one, hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly. So you can start, and then we're going to bring the judges back for any questions. If you need me to go to the next slide, you can just tell me, hey?
Awesome. Thank you so much. First of all, I apologize if there is any noise in the background. I'm joining you from an active construction site today. I'm very hands-on. Cool. So I'm going to be speaking to you about a flip that I did recently, my first in a professional capacity. So this is a before picture of what was the living area, and you can see a little bit into the kitchen there through the door. Next slide, please. And then this was the after. So the biggest change we made was essentially bring the kitchen into the living room and turn the kitchen into a second bedroom, which helped us force appreciation and do quite well. Next slide, please. So high level summary, we created a value uplift of 1.6 million, which is 36.5% on the capital invested or 59% annualized. And this we did over an 8-month period. Next slide, please. Thanks. So I'm going to fly through this and dig more into the numbers kind of towards the end. How it started, a little bit about me. During COVID, interest rates crashed. I started watching renovation TV, decided to buy my first property because I could afford it because of the interest rates. Had an idea, decided to renovate this and see if I could sell it. I always wanted to design my own place, and this was the first time I was able to do that. So I did, and I did quite well. I bought a second property. I wanted to try it again. I got really spicy one Friday at my job and decided to rage quit and see if this was something I could do full time. Sold that property, made a good profit, and decided to open an interior design company or start a interior design company. And that's how I ended up here. Next slide, please. So shortly after starting the company, I realized I don't love working with clients. It's quite creatively stifling, and I miss the world of property and business. So I started chatting to people, found an investor, and we decided to do a flip together and see how that went. And I quite quickly realized that my passion isn't just interior design, it's adding value through interior design, which we were able to do on this property. Next slide, please. So this property had been sitting on the market for a little while. It was an outdated 1-bedroom apartment in Greenpoint. Hadn't been touched since the 70s, bit of a time capsule. But what I saw was it was potentially a 2-bedroom apartment waiting to happen because it had this closed off kitchen and it was 76 square meters, I think. It was huge. The location was prime. The block was Airbnb friendly. It had stunning views, great amenities, and I saw potential. Next slide, please. Back one. Thank you. So this is what I saw in my mind the first time I saw that kitchen. I saw what should have been a bedroom. And after doing research on the block and other apartments in the block, I could see that somebody else had actually done the same thing. Because in kind of sectional titles, body corporates don't always allow you to add a bedroom. But I could see that it was possible, both it was permitted, someone else had done it, and structurally it was possible too. So we just picked up the kitchen, drilled a hole in the wall and shoved it in the lounge. Next slide, please. So this was the location. So as you can see, super central, right by the waterfront, the stadium, the promenade, all that good stuff. So I was pretty confident in the location. Next slide, please. So in terms of due diligence, I analyzed all the comps to make sure that I wasn't buying far above. I was at market value, but it wasn't far above market value. Studied buyer demand in the area, and just got a really good idea of who is buying in that area, what are the reasons they're buying, so that I could keep that in mind when I was basically coming up with the design in my head. I reviewed the building's body corporate rules, 10-year maintenance plan. I estimated the renovation costs, spoke to a few contractors, and basically figured out a purchase price of 3.3 million was my absolute max going in, and I could sell confidently in my mind for 5 million plus. And just made sure that I was using contractors that all had all the relevant registrations, insurance, compliance certificates, and all that jazz. Next slide, please. So the deal structure, I did this in a personal capacity along with my investor, who also entered into this joint venture in a personal capacity, and both of us then invoiced the joint venture for our respective services at arm's length. That was going to be the most tax efficient way to do this. So he brought the capital and I brought the deal sourcing, investment strategy, design concept and procurement, project management, staging, marketing and sales. It was a very busy 8 months for me. Next slide, please. Risk management and challenges. Unfortunately, I found out after buying, I did flag an issue in the body corporate rules that basically said only 2 renovations in the block could take place at a time, and it was a very large block. I flagged that as a concern. Unfortunately, the estate agent assured me telephonically that it wouldn't be an issue. They knew about it. They were happy for me to renovate. I removed the suspensive condition, and upon transfer, I found out that they had no idea that I was planning on renovating and told me I'd need to wait 6 months, which is a deal breaker for anyone who's doing this as an investment. However, my exit strategies were to potentially furnish, decorate, and list it on Airbnb. This was in September. So holiday season was coming up, summer was coming up, and the block was Airbnb friendly. The other idea was to sell kind of off plan. So with my drawn up design plans and finishes and everything and 3D renders, to a prospective buyer as a future 2-bedroom apartment to try and make back what we had spent on transfer costs, etc., etc. However, as with any good large apartment block, there is always body corporate politics, and I was able to leverage those to find a solution. And we got our permission to renovate, and I started renovations beginning of October. Submitted detailed plans, obtained all approvals, and complied with all of the very, very, very many body corporate rules to make sure that we didn't have any more hiccups. Next slide, please. So my renovation strategy was I made sure that I was very familiar with the area demographics. Like I said, who is going to be the buyer, and then tailored all of the decisions I made with regard to design, space planning, et cetera, for a specific buyer in mind. I researched the current comps and wanted to provide options as well in terms of whether it was going to be furnished or not. I know a lot of people do buy Airbnbs in this area and they would like it to be fully furnished. It saves them time and hassle. And if it's done by a professional, even better. So I fully furnished and staged it, and I offered it fully furnished, partially furnished, and furnished. The idea with that was also the more options I'm able to provide people with, the bigger my prospective buyer pool, which then drives up price. And if I wasn't sure about a design decision, I basically just put it out to my friends and family and said, which would you prefer? To make sure that it wasn't just me making like woo-woo decisions. And that was actually very helpful. And yeah, I was adamant I needed to finish before builders' holidays. So before December, 10th of December, so that I could list kind of first to second week of January while all the internationals were still in the area, because you get a lot of swallows coming for summer and then leaving kind of like late January, beginning of February. And I had a feeling I would be selling to somebody who was not from Cape Town. So it was important to me to be able to hit that gap. Next slide, please. So this is just a few before and afters. So you are welcome, Daniel, to just flip through these. Onto the dining area. Next slide, please. There we go. Kitchen, new kitchen. Next slide, please. Lounge. We did a little fake fireplace. It's a bioethanol situation, which turned out really well. It was one of those crazy ideas I had, but it worked. Next slide, please. Another before. Next slide, please. So that was the bathroom, quite a big change there. We went for the walk-in shower instead of a bath. Next slide, please. There we go. That was the primary bedroom. Basically redid the cupboards and furnished. Next slide, please. And then that was the old kitchen, which is the new secondary. Next slide, please. Another shot of that. Next slide, please. There we go. So the sales strategy, I was very intentional about the timing of the sale. It was a private sale. That's very important to me, not only for commission purposes, but because it's very important for me to be able to hear the feedback firsthand from prospective buyers, get a better understanding of who these buyers are. Was I right? Was I not right? And what design choices did they like and what did they not? Because that's something that I can use in my next kind of flip. Very valuable. Also allowed me to tailor my pitch to them. So if they, were buying for their daughter who wanted to be in a safe environment, I could explain how safe the area is, et cetera, or how great the security in the block was. It ended up selling. I ended up listing. I ran the comps the day before we listed to get a sense of what I could price at. And the market had gone absolutely crazy. I decided to price at 6 million, which is a whole million above what I was initially planning to. And it sold full price, all cash within 48 hours. The response was absolutely overwhelming. So I was thrilled. And I was able to hand over a turnkey apartment, fully equipped, including beach towels, cleaning products, a bottle of bubbles in the fridge, everything, to a lovely family. And we're still in touch. I still get texts from them. They're absolutely loving the place. They sent me a picture of themselves enjoying the fireplace for the first time the other day. So that was really, really heartwarming and very special. Next slide, please. So financial outcome. Purchase price was 3.3 million. The total costs all in were just under 4.4 million. We sold for 6 million. So the total value uplift created was 1.6 million. The agreement between my investor and I was that essentially we split that roughly 50-50. So projected ROI was 36.5% on the capital invested, 59% annualized. We held it for a period of 8 months and was very pleased to beat the block record achieved, like price per square meter achieved by 52%, which increased the value of everyone else's properties in the block. So yeah, even the ones that made my life a little difficult, but it's fine. I gave them a little gift there. Next slide, please. Right, so key learnings. I think the one thing that really stood out for me, again, was never underestimate the power of great design. I learned the value of contractual protections. Do not take suspensive conditions out of your OTP ever. A collaborative body corporate is essential if you're going to be flipping in a block of flats. And foreign investors can add a layer of complication with regard to getting finances across country borders. And the timing of a sale can be incredibly powerful. Next slide, please. So what's next? I'd like to improve at deal sourcing, improve my design and development, develop my design skills. I'd like to scale, learn more about new development, and not fluff it up. Next slide, please. So that's it. That was a flip. We invested through 4.4, made 6 million. I made half of that, no money down, just years of my life. It went really well. We learned a lot, and I'm busy on another 2 at the moment, which is why I'm joining you from a construction site. Thank you so much.
Oi, geez, Amanda, congratulations. Well done. Always good hearing your story and everything you are achieving. It's quite exciting. I think there's no other better judge to go to than an actual investor within the Cape Town region, because there's kind of a connotation with Cape Town that it's very difficult to impossible to come up with a flip in Cape Town because of the acquisition prices in and around the area. So what you've been able to do is nothing short of special. But I'd like to maybe start off with Miguel. Do you want to come in there, my brother? Do you have any questions for Amanda? I think Miguel's still muted, hey?
Sorry, I can't believe I'm doing this today. You definitely didn't fluff it up. This is an amazing deal. Well done. And love the fact that you're on to your next 2. So love the fact that you're kind of rolling forward, right? And doing more deals. The Cape Town's on a fantastic trajectory. The market's booming. It takes some guts to go in because the numbers are big, but and actually, the longer your project takes, the more money you make, because it's a funny place where the Cape Town market is in. But I think everything needs to come to an end at some point, and whether it's 12 months, 3 years, 5 years, the Cape Town market will cool down. Just what are your? So not really a question on the deal. You've been quite clear. What are your thoughts on the future of the Cape Town market and how that might affect you?
Great question. Thank you for that. I do think it'll plateau at some point. I think we are in a season where things are just going crazy, and it's great to hear that things are increasing over time because we've had delays. That was me this morning. So I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But maybe delays are a good thing for me and my bank balance. I would love to move into I have a few ideas, but I'd love to move into buying and letting. So the BRRRR method, basically. I love design, so I'd love to be able to buy, improve, refinance, and let it out. I also would like to be working with homeowners. I have an idea that's a little bit different. But next year, my plan is to start partnering with homeowners, so not actually buy the property, but step in and connect with homeowners who are struggling to sell their property for the price that they want, inject my own capital, do a renovation. They sell the property. I'm not paying nearly as much in taxes and transfer costs and all that jazz. And then we do some sort of profit share model there. That will also help me shave off quite a few months in terms of the timeline as well. So that's what I'm thinking.
Cool. I think stay flexible. It will evolve one way or the other.
That's the thing. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Sam, do you have any questions?
I do. Amanda, a great deal. Congratulations on that. I have two
Thank
questions
you.
for you, and both of them are just around the analysis of number one, your exit strategy, and number two, the actual flip itself. So, from an exit strategy point of view, like what level of analysis did you do from an Airbnb perspective to gauge how well it would perform, how long it would take to make your money back, and the likes? And then from a market value point of view for the flip itself, what level of analysis did you do on there as well? Because you estimated about 5 million and you sold for R1 million more than that. So I just want to get a picture on your level of due diligence in that sense.
Yes. So I'll start with the second one. I was pretty thorough there because we were spending a lot of money and it was somebody else's money. So I carry the weight of that very, very heavily. But based on the research that I did in terms of what I ran, I got prop stats, I got the CMA. I looked at basically all of the properties within kind of 600 meters that had sold in the neighboring blocks, the quality to which they were done up, the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, garages, all that jazz. And conservatively, I felt that we could get 5 million, kind of thinking I could do a decent job with the design. I think what really pushed it up to the 6 million mark was a combination of the property market increasing, it's selling kind of in summer, and the fact that the design came out the way that it did and that it was staged. Estate agents told me I couldn't do it, but I was like, well, I've done it twice before, so we'll see. And that was I got lucky, but I also took a risk and worked really hard, and everything kind of worked together. With regard to the Airbnb, I did a lot of chatting to ChatGPT and was looking at all the other Airbnbs kind of in the area and historical data on what Airbnbs had pulled in that area in previous years. And I was confident that the plan was always to flip, but if we had to hold it until we could renovate in January, it looked to me like we could cover our basic costs. Or at least not lose money by basically Airbnb-ing it out if we had staged it, based on what the other properties in the block and in that road and in the kind of surrounding blocks had been able to bring in. It would help that I would also have managed it myself, so we'd be saving costs there. I don't know if that answers your question. I hope it does.
That does, yeah, I'm happy. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You're welcome.
Awesome. So Amanda, thank you so much for your time. Because of time, ladies and gents, we are going to cut Amanda's interview short. It is always good hearing from you and always cool hearing your story. Thank you so much, Amanda. If you would like, ladies and gents, to see Amanda, go to the next round. We are going to be posting about her, and there will be her image and her profile. Please vote for Amanda if you would like to see on the 19th of September. Be one of the finalists and represent you, Cape Town. You can vote for Amanda. Amanda, thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Ladies and gents, we are going to be welcoming the third contestant for today, which is Mr. Spelele Zuma, who is joining us from his shift, actually. So all is good, Mr. Spelele. Can you hear us?
Thank you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect, sir. So if you need me to go to the next slide, you can just let me know. But your time starts now, hey?
Okay, quick introduction. My name is Pelele Zuma from Pietermaritzburg, and I'm the person who turned impossibility into possibilities. Would you believe that I only spend 750 Rand of my own money to buy property? Well, working as a security, some person may say with a 7,500 Rand salary, you can't buy property. but I'm here to tell you that it is possible to buy a property. I went in on this deal. I was armed with my pay slip and my credit score. I didn't have any of my money. What I did, I went to the bank because I believe that collaboration is the new innovation. So as SA Property Network and Absa are collaborating, I also collaborated with my financier, which is SA Home Loan. I went there with my salary, my pay slip of 7,500 and my credit score. So I went there and applied for a loan, bond. So I got a bachelor apartment in Pietermaritzburg, which is in the heart of the CBD in Pietermaritzburg. And then the property was selling for 330,000, but I was able to get it for 310,000. Please move to the next slide. So my property deal, this is just a basic overview of it. It's the first picture is before when I was going to search to look for the property, and the second picture is during the deal. So I was glad that I got the deal, which is an ideal location. The place is in the heart of Pietermaritzburg in the CBD. The government institution nearby. There's a 5 minute walk to Umgungundlovu FET. So I'm proud to say that South Africans can be able to learn from my stories that there's no salary that is small. With a good credit score and collaboration. So with my deal, I got a FLISP assistant from the government, which is first time home finance. So the FLISP deal went through. On the second slide, that's when I was buying the property now. And then on the third slide was the day I was moving in to see my property for the first time. The second slide during is when I was receiving the keys. Yeah, and on the third picture is when I was actually moving in, and to my surprise, I found out that Pietermaritzburg there's a need for housing rental, because on the day that I posted my apartment online, would you believe me that I had about close to 15 bookings just for viewing. And then the first tenant who came in the morning, 8 a.m., was the very tenant who paid deposit right there on the spot. Please move on to the next slide. So this is the deal, the numbers. This is the purchase price. The purchase price was basically 310,000. As I said, I've negotiated it. It was 330, the selling price, and then I negotiated it to 310. And then my deal structure, because I got the FLISP assistant from the government, 60,000 of that FLISP was paid towards the deposit of the deal. 60,000 was paid towards it, and then the rest, the remaining amount, was paid to the bond attorneys and the transfer attorneys, and then there was the amount that was left. It was paid towards the bond, so it decreases my monthly payment to about 2,370,000. So that's how much I'm paying per month. That's including insurance, not including insurance cover of the bond. So I believe that I got a best deal. And my story is one that I want to inspire South Africans that with a good credit score, a research, and knowing your city, you can find the best property deal, and you can able to capitalize on that Look at me. I went with 7,500 salary, and today I'm a property owner. Okay. By the way, my strategy is a rent to own strategy. So I've bought the property, and then I've got a tenant first week of advertising my property. I got a tenant, and the first tenant paid the deposit right there on the spot. First viewer. So let me run you through the numbers. The monthly rental is 4,500. The 4,500. So there's basically there's the money for the bond, and then there's the money for levies. The money for levies is approximately 1,500, and the money that I get monthly as a profit is a 1,000 rand. It seems small, but I used 750 of my own money just to get this property that is worth 310,000. So I am a story of impossible to possibilities, because I turn the word impossible to I am possible. Please move to the next slide, please. Okay. Now, my story is one of the story that is very interesting, because I was only armored. My only armor that I had was my 7,500 salary, and my credit score was my shield. So it's like basically I went through the war of getting this property and proving to South Africans, and so that I can share my story that it is possible. And property is not just a short-term investment, it's a long-term investment. I'm sure with this location that I have, the property value will grow over time. And I'm still working as I'm on my lunch break now. I'm still working as a security. But at the end of the month, my bond will be covered, the levies are covered, and then I get to get that 1,000 rand. Obviously, the property I got it on June this year. So since I got it on June, the client paid the deposit in 2 installments. So now the profit that I'm getting, I'm saving. So as I said also that collaboration is the new innovation. I collaborated with SA Home Loan, and I collaborated with the government subsidy, which gave me the amount of 141,000. The only 750 that I paid was for the bond insurance. No, not the bond insurance, to register on the body corporate insurance. So it was a certificate of body corporate insurance. That's where I was able to pay 750 of my own money, because I went there and I saw the deal. It was well structured, and then I was able to capitalize on it. Today, I'm proud to say that I'm a property owner. Some may say you have one property, others have 10, but having a property means something, because I have something on my name that I can pass on to my future generation, on my son and on my son. And I can able to capitalize from this property to, to give it to the next generation. Thank you very much. And I hope my story will inspire other people. This is my deal. My name is Pelele Zuma from Pietermaritzburg. I used to define myself as a security guard, but today that all changes to a property owner. You can now call me a property owner. I'm no longer a security guard, because security guard is the work that I'm doing. It's not me. If I can define my future, that's how I define myself as a property owner. Thank you very much for the great opportunity. And I'd like to thank the collaboration between the SA Property Network, Absa, and Investor of the Year, and all other stakeholders. 360 Finance, I'm here. In the future, I'm hoping that you see that somebody who has enthusiastic and somebody who can capitalize on deals and uses education, because I went there, I did my research, I studied during my break. When there was a night shift, I was on night shift duty. I used to study research about property, watch YouTube videos. Today, I'm a property owner, and it doesn't matter. Some people can have 10, 20, 15, but when you count property owners, you also count Spelele Zuma. Remember the name Spelele Zuma, the property owner, not the security officer. Thank you very much.
Not the security officer. What an incredible story as well as presentation. Mr. Spelele, I appreciate. Thank you so much. Extremely inspiring to hear your story. Seeing you, I mean, you're at work, right? During your lunchtime, entering this competition to inspire others out there. And believe me when I say it's the first of many. It may be one, but you've got the right attitude as well as mindset to grow this as far as you want to grow it. So, without further delays, I'd like to open up the floor to judges' comments or questions that they might have. Judges, who wants to go first?
I think I can go first here. And firstly, Mr. Spelele, super congratulations. And as our partners, Absa, also emphasize, your story matters and then yours speaks volume to the masses. But on my side, the one question that I have or comment that I have for you is that from what you've done now, you've obviously armed yourself with education, the knowledge of how to do this, taking advantages of certain things that are put into place. In terms of like the future, what does that look like for you? Are you looking at getting into joint ventures with other people? Because like you said earlier as well, education is very important. And then if you educate yourself in that space with your mindset and your willingness to do things, you will go very far. But I just want to understand your thought processes around that.
Yeah, thank you very much for that question. As I said, that innovation is collaboration, rather. Collaboration is the new innovation. I'm looking to partner with other people like I did in order to get this deal. 360 Finance, as you said, you offer finance. I'm willing to work with people like that in the future in order to get other deal and maybe grow my property portfolio.
Right, no, awesome. Thank you so much.
No, thanks, Migs. Anything your side?
Wow, Spilele, well done, hey. You know what? You have already won. It's great to be here. This is just a victory lap. I think you have already won and you know it. So, that's just a comment I want to make, a comment of encouragement. Everyone out there who has 5, who has 10, who has 50, they started with their 1. Okay, without the 1 is where they start. And that's where you're starting. Where you end is totally up to you. And you already got some great momentum. I don't really, I think maybe I'm going to piggyback on Sam's question. So for FLISP, I think you can only get the first time. You can't get a second time. And how are you going to? So if you're going to collaborate, and collaborate so important. Well done for understanding and realizing collaboration is a key to success. How are you going to raise cash for your next property?
So I was looking to refinance maybe my first property in order to get finance from the bank, because I can also attach the my there's contracts of me and the tenant. I can attach it and then go to the bank in order to ask to prove it as a secondary income from my salary. It is a secondary income, so I can go to the bank and ask for finance again.
Fantastic. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. No, good luck with that. That's exactly the right answer. So congrats with that. All the very best. Hope to see you soon.
Mr. Spelele, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time. In the interest of time, ladies and gents, we are going to be moving to the next investor. Thank you, Mr. Spelele. The next investor will be Miki. I'm going to bring Miki up and just bring her slides as well so that she can start. Miki, how are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm doing yourself.
Blessed, thanks, Miki. So, like with everyone else, Miki, you've got 15 minutes to go through your presentation, and then we're going to come back for judges and the questions that they might have. Hey?
Okay, not a problem. Good afternoon, everyone. The panel there. So, my strategy is student accommodation, which is in Welcome, the Free State. So, my target market there, it's the CUT, Central University of Technologies, as previously known as TechOffs, and the Goldfields colleges around there, the TVETs. And then I found my deal via the Property 24, but it was advertised by another investor who bought the property through the auction. Can we go to the next slide, please? So my 9 to 5, I'm a compliance officer in the banking industry. So having to work there in the banking industry, knowing the economy, how is it doing? I decided to actually, the reality just hit me, whereby there was a restructure that was happening in the industry, and then I was affected by it. So that it was a wake-up call for me. So I needed to have something to supplement, not actually even not to because just to survive, because the restructure, it means that anything can happen. There's uncertainties there. So I had to start something. At the time, I did not know about SAPIN, so I just did things through my head, through what I've been seeing happening around. So I have a primary residence that is bonded. So I built bachelor's rooms there just to get income. And then from there, that's when now I started to see this thing, it's really working. So I need to get it on a full-time basis so that it can be a straight income, something that I can venture on and looking at the whatever that is happening in the country, the economy, and have something for just for generational wealth. So I went then I joined SAPIN. That's when I got other options. Then, or I was introduced to other options, other strategies that were available. And then the student accommodation one really caught my attention because it was hitting home. I was once a student, and I know how it feels to lack. I know how it feels not to know where you're gonna sleep while you're standing on those long queues during the registration, not knowing what you're gonna if you accepted, how you're gonna get the funding and stuff like that. Hence now I opted to go for students that are NAFSA's accredited. So those are close to my heart because of the background that they are coming from. So those were the things that I wanted to work on, to be part of it, just to plow back to the society where I'm coming from, to understand, the living condition, and also now to create something safe, or more like a safe haven for them if they are away from home. What kind of accommodation that they can get, not something that will just be just a passage for them to sleep and stuff like that, but a decent accommodation. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So now, the house that I got, it was like I mentioned, it was prior to me joining SAPIN. So what attracted me with that house, it was a corner house. It's in Dagberg, corner house. It's about 1.4 square meter. And the yard, that was one thing that caught my eye. I thought about it and I saw that there's potential here. A lot can be done because being it a corner house, it got two entrances from both streets, one the other side. And so now on that house, it was a 4-bedroom house. 2 bathroom, and then a garage and some extension that were there. It was a pool room. It was extension, but they closed the garage. It was just in front of the garage, and there were 3. This is exactly how I found the first one left. That's how I found the house. So now I see this. I know this is a collage, but now if you check you can see the outlayers of the house, and then you can also see the pool room that I wanna make reference to. So it will be the 4th photo from the house from on top, the 4th one. So the first will be where there's a palisade fence, and then the house next to the house, then there's a gray thing there. So that space, that's where on the building plan they categorized, or they labeled as a pool house. So there is a pool next to it, but it was just like that. So it's just an extension. So and then after being in Serpent, or after being a member in Serpent, I got to understand. I think I joined around the time where Andrew was renovating the kitchen. So he said something like, you cannot have anything, empty space there, just lying there, not accumulating any income. And this house now, this pool house, I try to think about it, weighing option what to do with, because for me, it was like, I was just going to leave it like that. It would be entertainment area. But entertainment area, it was not bringing anything to me. So now, I then petition it into 3 single rooms. So NAFSA's guideline, there's a spacing that they will tell you for how many square meters per single and per sharing. So the white doors here on the second collage that is on the right, there's a white doors there. This is how how this thing was petitioned, how it looks. Right? And then there is the old bathroom. The old bathroom where it was a bathtub. Then I've demolished the bathtub and then replace it with the showers. Here are the showers on the next picture. And then the garage. On the garage, the approved building plan, they had petitioned, they had a petition on it. So where they would have a garage, and then on that they would have a bathroom in a room. So I used that, and then I implemented what maybe what the previous owner intended to do to my advantage. So that will be the 3rd photo there on the right, where there is a yellowish bedding on the bed. So that's how. So basically the renovation here was the tiling, the paint, the ceiling, and the doors, and the compliance, like your health and safety stuff, your cameras, security, the she-beans, and all that. So that's what most of the renovation went to. Next slide, please. Next slide. So, as per the student accommodation, we are supposed to have, in a room, a student is supposed to have a bed, a desk, table, a desk, chair, and a cupboard or bookshelf, lockable cupboards for their clothes, and then the common areas, be the kitchen. They need to have your stove, your microwave, your kettles, ironing for the laundry. Would have to have all those things. So it's some of the things that I bought there. Next slide, please. I think maybe we might be having a challenge with the connectivity, the connections. So the next slide will be on the numbers. So the numbers, I would just try to, for the sake of time, I will try to talk to it through my head, just trying to I won't have maybe the right figures, but just to save time. So I bought the property for about 710. It was a rundown property. It was dilapidated. It was no. There's a slide before that one.
Okay, here you go.
Yes, thank you. So the numbers, yes. The purchase price for that property was about 710. It is bonded under my name. It is since I'm the only owner there. I'm working on a business structure. I've got an appointment Monday, the 31st, I think, with Bruno. So we are working on that. It's something that I'm aware that I need to move to the right structure. I just want to go via the SPV route. So I bought it for 710, and then these are the renovation costs, and then there's also zoning that is in progress. The attorney fees, it's about 50% discount as part of the staff benefit. The furniture was the beds that I bought, and the study table, yes. And then it totals to 1.158, and then the estimation on the valuation, it will be after the rezoning. So I'm estimating it to go to as far as 1.8, because I will still I'm considering to be doing other development within the yard there. So now, as per in terms of the cash flow, I painted two scenario. Finally, I got paid. The last round, Daniel, it was when July. I wasn't paid. Now they paid me this month. So, but they paid as a non-accredited, since they still haven't given me the accreditation letter. I've applied for accreditation. They've done the inspection and stuff like that, but they haven't issued the accreditation letter to tell me which grading I'm at. So they gave me about 2.5 per student. That was the amount that I agreed on. So per month and then after 14 students, they are NAFSA's beneficiaries, and two of them, they are private students. So the private students, I charge them 2.8, and then the NAFSA's will need to confirm. So now this is the cash flow that I got after the expense and everything has been catered for. So I would be getting 7,997.60 per month, and annually it would be 97,600 for non-accredited. So the accreditation part, I just used grade C, which I feel it is reasonable, but I'm assuming my property I might get A or B, most of it B. So the calculation there, it's about 21,306, and then for annually it will be 213. So my ROI for non-accredited is 8%. I am not scared to see this. It's in progress. I believe after the accreditation, everything has taken place, it will change. Hence, now I have for the accredited one for grade C grading for 18.4. So I am not running a loss. There is no emotion attached here. It's just that it's accredited. Okay, next slide, please. The other thing that really boost my confidence. my understanding about this work, and that she was saying is the occupancy rate from Feb to August. The occupancy rate, you can see I haven't gone anything under 50%. I've always been student in my property, and I believe that through the education that I'm getting here, I resolve issues on time. I'm creative. I see things that can happen, and so I communicate a lot with the kids, even when I feel a student. So there is a level of understanding the house mother who's picking up, also
Sorry, Maggie, we're just struggling to hear your mic. Could you try again? It's coming out a bit soft.
let me.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yes. So now I'm saying the occupancy rate, it gives me a comfort because things it's not all bad. I have managed to get occupancy more than 50% of more than 50%, and through the education that I'm getting through SAPIN, how to resolve issues with the tenants, how to react to situation, all that. So it working, it works wonders for me. So hence now I've got about now 100%, the whole house is full, and I keep on checking with the student every now and then just to understand where we're standing. If there is other things, we do have a monthly meeting to iron out issues. If there's some issue, if there's maybe some delays or something, maybe something is not fixed on time, stuff like that, I keep them on the loop of whatever that is happening and the plan of the accommodation.
Okay. I think because of time,
yes.
We will call it here. Firstly, congratulations. It's never easy. Any investment's never easy. I'm sure on your journey towards accreditation, you can attest to the difficulties. I think to Miguel's point on one of our other students or the other contestants that did student accommodation, you are underwriting your risk against a large institute known as NAFSA, right?
Yes.
However, you just said you just faced some long delays on payments, receiving of payments. They do pay historically. There's just a delay on the payments, and during the time you are paying your water, electricity, your bond every single month, you are paying your house. You said you've got a house mother, right? Caretaker on site. You are paying rates and taxes where municipality don't care. What are you doing, or did you know this, some of these realities coming into it, and what have you done to sort of address some of that constraints or difficulty?
Well, to be honest, I did not know the delays can take so long, but I had some money saved up, and then as I was going, because I'm working, my primary residence, I've got about three bachelor's rooms. I've got a salary, and then I had some money saved up, and then as I financed for the accommodation to operate from February till July. I was using that money to use, and even the family, they would top me up.
Hey, friends and family, and have savings, right?
Yeah.
100%. Judges, anyone has any specific questions?
Maybe just to kick off, Mickey, well done. These things, you go in with theory, but you come out with experience, and this just helps you build, and grow towards your next opportunity. So well done. But yeah, Daniel, I think you had my question in terms
Maybe I'm off the hook. They don't have questions.
I had the same as Daniel's question in terms of the risk of NSFAS. So you've answered that. Thank you so much.
Tell me, Daniel, at what point was I soft? But did you manage to hear the presentation?
Yeah, no, we managed to hear you. I think my final question for you would be then, if Sam has any questions, he can just let us know. So with regards to your structures, currently you're obtaining this income in your personal name, right? But you're looking to have a structure involved and the likes to transfer. What is that structure? What in your head would be the best vehicle to help you go to the next level?
I want to I have a appointment with Bruno on Monday, the 31st. So I want to use the trust holding company and then SPVs in the bottom, just to have, because I want SPV just because now for tax efficiency and legacy planning. This is not gonna be my end. This is my starting point. So I'm planning to upscale to different areas. So I wanted to be in the same in each accommodation to have its own legal entity.
Okay, makes sense. Sam, do you have any questions?
No, I'm happy on my side. Your first question is what Miguel was gonna ask. Your second question is what I was gonna ask. So I think we covered.
Awesome, Mickey. I think thank you so much. Thanks so much. Congratulations for entering the Investor of the Year. I think you've got the right fundamentals. Joining a network to ensure that you can continue learning, which is the exciting part. Congratulations, and yeah, please keep us informed how your deal goes. Hey, can't wait to see the accreditation, so that the money can roll in. Hey.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gents, we are going to go towards another contestant, Karen. I'm hoping his internet does hold. Karen, are you out there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. So I just need to refresh the slides. But similar to the other guys, so we will give you 15 minutes to go through your presentation, and then we're going to come in for any potential questions that the judges might have. Hey.
Cool. Yeah, last time you guys grilled me with questions.
Hey, we'll try not to. We'll try
No,
not
I don't
to.
mind. I don't mind. I like talking.
Okay, perfect.
I didn't think you'd actually get the new one. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Perfect. Over to you, sir.
What if I told you one apartment could grow in value by nearly R500,000 in under 2 years? You can go to the next slide. So 2 years ago, when I was 22 years old, I bought my first apartment. These are the numbers for it. And it's really brought in over 200,000 Rand for me, gross, and has increased in value by about 500,000 Rand. So I'm gonna walk you through how I managed to actually do this deal. So this was an Airbnb property. Actually, when I started, I was gonna do it to let, but thanks to, well, my father actually recommended I do Airbnbs, and I joined groups like Miguel's group to do Airbnb with it. So you go to the next slide. So this property is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit in Morningside with a gym, pool, and quite a nice area. The really nice thing was it was severely undervalued due to being a property in distress that wasn't really taken care of very well. Next slide, please. So the location was, I wanted one in Sandton City, or in Sandton area. The Sandton area has been one of the highest growth areas over the last few years, other than Cape Town, obviously. And I wanted one that was going to work for tourists and for corporate, as I wanted to do it mainly for corporate clients. They're the safest clients, in my opinion. That is my target audience. I manage the whole property by myself to save on costs, but also I quite enjoy doing it. I like dealing with guests. I like dealing with everyone. And when things break, I actually enjoy it. It's fun because I get to fix everything and sort out my property, because I like being quite hands-on with everything. Next one, please. So I started out with Airbnb and Booking.com immediately. Contrary to popular strategies of just going in on one app, I tried to do as many as I could to start and diversify immediately from the beginning. And it worked out quite well for me, as I didn't really have a low period, even though I did start it at the beginning of winter, which is in hospitality, our dead period. Like this year was a dead period. I got quite lucky with my bookings, and the guests I had, they were quite nice, and I had consistent returns throughout the first year of bookings. Yeah. Cool. So here's my net platform income from all of it, minus all my operating expenses. So this is all the fees, the restocking, all of that. And every ounce of extra money I got from it went straight into the bond. So I'm trying to keep the cost down completely, and every time I pay into the bond, it's a 9%. Well, I got a good interest rate, so 9.8% return on that investment every time I pay extra into the bond, completely paid through from the apartment. None of my own money goes into the bond, thankfully. Next. Yeah, so the deposit is what I put in here. It took me years to save it, as I went straight into a corporate job out of varsity, as I wanted to always do property since I was younger. It was, you had to save every penny I could, skip parties, skip friends, all of that, just to try and get the first property I could get. And it worked out quite well. The fee structure is, the ownership structure is in my personal name, and that's for personal taxes, as it decreases my normal salary taxes. And yeah, the furnishing, I got quite good deals on everything, as I waited for Black Friday for a lot of them, and I had to store it, to my mother's dismay, in her house. She was quite upset with me the whole months that it was sitting there. Yeah, so from purchase price, I purchased it for 1.1 million. And in under 2 years, there's properties in the same building selling for about 1.6 to recently 1.9 million. I'm using the conservative value of 1.6 million. So it has had an increase in capital growth of 45% already, which is quite good, especially in the Joburg area, which hasn't had insane growth recently. Yeah, so this was my first deal, and it was the one that got me into property. And I've already, using the cash flow from this, it has helped me actually get a second property that I'm finishing furnishing this weekend. And that one will be listed soon for it. So this one has helped me start my journey into property, and it's been a fun journey so far, with a lot of help from a lot of mentors. I think that's everything.
Cool. Apologies, short and sweet, hey?
Yeah, I know you guys like the numbers.
Fair. We learned from the last time, eh? We learned from the last time. Cool. I maybe like to start off with, I know you mentioned you are in the same group as Miguel, which is the SA host. For any host, ladies and gents, throughout the country, there's a platform, there's a network of like-minded investors and hosts throughout the country. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mix. Do you maybe want to come in with regards to Kieran and his deal and opportunity? Any sort of advice you can give him and potential questions you might have?
Thanks, Daniel. Kieran, well, look, we've chatted a lot, right? Over, and I remember like when you had just started off, and you shared your listing, and and it was great, but there were one or two things we had to fix, and you immediately took it on board, you reviewed it, you thought about it, and you went and adjusted. But the key thing is you keep moving forward, and I just love the fact of where you're at, and you're onto your second one. So that's amazing, super well done. Maybe my question to you is, from what you've learned in this first deal, what have you done that's quite different in the second deal from the first deal?
So for my second deal now, I structured the property a little bit differently. I purchased it in a company's name. So that helps a bit with separating myself from the business. And that's going to be a little bit better for me in the long run. And from the get-go, I'm putting in place, this one has like a better structure because it's 2 units in one, the new property. And because it's 2 units, I can rent out multiple rooms instead of one single room, which allows me to get on a lower rate, but more rooms and more, as you say, bums and beds, to get more income for those properties, even though this one was at a higher price. But it's all right though, because it has a higher potential earnings. So that's what I've done a little bit differently. I've also, in terms of furnishing, I've taken a bit more understandings for turnovers and for guest usage. The first one, I just tried to get the best of the best for my appliances and beds and everything. And I realized that's not actually the best thing you can do. You should get the most practical things for your guests, because some of the best are the best. For a lot of people, they're very high-tech appliances, and it gets a bit confusing for people. So I've gotten more user-friendly appliances rather than the best things in the world.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. And yeah, and good luck with the second one this weekend.
Thank you.
Noted. Sam, any questions on your side?
Yeah, for sure. Great deal, Kieran. I just have one more question, just from an expansion point of view. You mentioned that the second one will be in an entity and the likes. Going forward, what thoughts do you have around that? And are you constantly looking at ownership, or are you veering more towards rent to rent as well? And then, because then obviously keeping it in your personal name, the more you buy, the more you end up paying in taxes from an efficiency point of view. So I just wanted to get your thought processes around that.
So ever since I was younger, I've wanted to own something, and like a brick and mortar business, so something physical. As much I work in the tech space, so a lot of the stuff that I work with and I own in the tech space is very digital. So I like owning something that I can touch. So I will try to keep it, obviously not in my name for tax purposes. I'll keep it in the business's name going forward. And in terms of for scalability with that, they will all be put into the business, the following properties. As the business's income will grow, the ability to get bonds and everything within that business will grow and grow.
Okay, happy. Thank you.
Okay, cool. I think my last question to you, my bro, before we let go of you, is obviously sectional title properties. You doing? I think you've got the concept. You're part of the team that will help you with regards to the operational aspect. But a big risk that is involved with sectional titles and the likes is that you open yourself up to risks beyond almost your control with the body corporate that comes in, and ensuring that the body corporate remains afloat, because you not only buying into that one unit, you're buying into the overall performance of the scheme and the likes. How do you go about selecting the right scheme to join? And once you've joined the scheme, what measures have you put in place to ensure that it remains the right scheme, right? That there's no special levies just being created for no good, for instance, that will change your numbers on your side.
Mm-hmm. So actually, when I first purchased it, there was, during my transfer, they were moving from the old body corp to the new body corp, and the old body corp, they didn't do very well, and they put the property, the complex, into debt. So the new body corp came on, and within 6 months, they cleared any and all debt that the entire corporate had from the previous body corp, which was quite good already from what I could see. And as they've grown it already, now they're really doing a full coat of paint on the entire complex. Currently now they're finishing it up now. They started it about a month ago. So this body corp, the new one, has been quite hands-on. They do manage a couple other corporates, body corps in the area. And when I was looking through body corps, because that was one of my main concerns, as they have a lot of rules and regulations, this body corp was quite nice because they have listings inside there for short-term rentals that the body corp manages itself. So the body corp has an extra income stream that they also take to help advance everyone. So the nice thing is, as much as I have my hand in it, the body corp also has their hand in it, as they own part of the properties. So they have an incentive to grow the wealth of the property.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much, my brother. Appreciate that. So, ladies and gents, that was Kieran. Thank you so much, my bro. During the week, we are going to announce whether he has made it to the 19th of September to be the overall winner. So thank you so much, my bro. So over to the next contestants, we've got Nyasha. Nyasha, how's it going?
Hi, Daniel.
Hey there, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to give you again 15 minutes to go through your presentation before Mr. Craig Pitt, who is in the background as well. Hey, over to you, ma'am.
Okay, next slide. Thank you, Daniel and team. And once again, my name is Nyasha. I am based in a town in Limpopo called Lepalale. And the deal I'm going to talk about today was bought to be a flip, and then I ended up pivoting into a buy-to-let strategy. Next slide, please. So I'm going to start with the flipping strategy. Next. So the property is a freehold, 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms with a double garage in a good location at a radius of 1 kilometer to the local shops, medical centers, schools, and other amenities, as well as public transportation. It was the ugliest house on a good street, and both the seller and the property were distressed. So I asked the agent to help me with the CPA and also used TPN reports as well as the Lightstone report of the property 24, just to get the ARV of the property. So for the exit strategies, I have the buy-to-let strategy, short-term accommodation subject to approval from the municipality, as well as if I find myself in a slow market, I will do a seller financing deal. And then the structure of this deal, it is under a PTY. Next slide, please. So I tested the numbers of the deal under the 70% rule, which gave me the maximum purchase price of 430K, as well as the profit to make sure that it was at least 15% and provision for capital gains tax with the cash flow and profit that would come out of the deal. So the asking price was 450. I negotiated it to 350K and managed to also negotiate the transfer attorney and bond registration fees. And while we were applying for this property with the banks were not willing to fund this deal because it was severely distressed. We ended up structuring the application as land acquisition and finally got approved at an LTV of 91.4, and I ended up paying a deposit of 30K. So for the renovations, it was about 500K, and I put down 200K and brought in 2 investors who brought in 300K. So the total cost of the property, including agent's commission, 1,009,454.74, and the sale price 1,300K, and the profit 290K with an ROI of 49%. Next slide. So to start off the renovations, I had a team and a scope of work just to outline all the renovations that needed to be done, a work breakdown structure to give us timelines for each job. And as the job was completed, I had expense tracking. I was focusing mainly on cosmetic renovations on this deal. And then while renovating, I bumped into challenges, which were latent defects. That was the flooring and the kitchen plumbing. And I also underestimated material transportation as well as the cost of rubble removal and their transportation. And I ended up having a budget overrun of about 60K. So even though I had a contingency of 10% on the project, I still had an overrun. And looking back to what went wrong in that, I discovered that the inspection was not done very well because most of the latent defects were picked up during the inspection. I could have put them in the budget and not have had a bigger overrun. And maybe next time I will try to have at least 20, at most 20% contingency. Next slide, please. To manage risks on this project, for budget overruns, I had an investor come through creative thinking, and in exchange of my profits, for funding constraints, creative structuring, for time delays, contingency, for market delays, I opted for the exit strategy. Next slide. So the property was listed. I managed to negotiate a commission discount and cancel the bond so that I don't have to pay bond cancellation fees. Offers started coming through. The first 2 of potential buyers fell through, and the other 2 and remaining could not qualify to buy the property, and I was already within my 90-day mark of putting the property on the market. So once I found out that the property hadn't managed to sell, I decided to pivot into the buy-to-let strategy because I was only left with holding costs for 3 months, and I needed the tenant to take over those expenses, even if I find a buyer for the property. So this is the before, during, and after of the deal. Next slide, please. So then with the buy to let strategy, I managed to secure a tenant for the deal. Next slide. So to get the average rentals of to get average rentals in the area, I checked on TPN and on Pocketlet, and I ended up with the rental price of 12,900 per month. The expenses include the management fees, maintenance voids, and accounting provision. I have a cash flow of 4,037.29 per month, a gross yield of 44.2%, and a rental ROI of 8.1%. Next slide. For tenant selection and management, I made sure I listed with a registered agent. And for tenant selection, even though I was using an agent or any different managing company, it was important that the income of the tenant was at least 3 times the rental that I was requesting. I also wanted a verified copy of their ID, verified payslips, bank statements, as well as a credit check. So with a credit check, I was looking at their payment history, their rental payment history as well, and check if they didn't have evictions or have a default judgment. So the tenant managed to pass that check and a lease agreement was signed. A damage deposit was collected, a moving inspection was done with management, invoices go out every month, payments and expenses are tracked, and interim inspections are scheduled twice a year. Next slide, please. So to mitigate risks in this strategy, there is a lease agreement, there is building insurance, damage deposit, rental insurance, vacancy provision, stress testing for interest rate increase. And with the stress testing, a few years back, I was approved for this property at an interest rate of 8.9. And while processing the property, I received an email and it had a pro forma invoice for the bond registration costs, the transfer attorney costs, as well as the deposit that was requested by the bank. But when verifying all the details, there was actually a personal account number, not a trust account number. So I ended up realizing that the agent had a head in it, though they were registered, and I canceled the deal. I lost my very first investor. I later on followed up on the deal, and today the repo rate is at 10.5, but this deal is still able to make 10.5, is still able to make cash flow, even though the ROI is affected. So for maintenance, there's maintenance provision and a schedule for preventative maintenance. Next slide. Key outcomes, I overcame funding challenges on a distressed property via creative structuring and secured this bond before the property was repossessed. I managed renovation overruns with an investor backup, shifted from a sell to a buy-to-let model after 90 days on the market, securing a rental contract, unlocked up to 1.5 million in equity, ensured positive cash flow and enabled reinvestment into future deals, successfully converted a property that banks could not fund for 7 years into a performing income generating asset. Next slide, please. At the beginning of my property journey, I faced a major setback that put close to 100K at risk and resulted in me losing my first investor. At that point, I had to decide whether to step back or move forward differently. I chose to continue, but with stronger control and due diligence, I restructured the deal, built investor confidence, and successfully raised around $500,000 to complete the renovations. Through that process, I also injected over 200K into the local community through labor and small contractors. That experience did not stop me. It refined how I think, structure, and protect every deal with both resilience and control going forward. Thank you.
Awesome. Geez, talk about a renovation under pressure. Eh? And yeah, no, it does quite happen, especially going into your first one. I think my question is going to be nice, short, and simple. What would you do differently taking up a project when renovating? So you mentioned making sure the inspection was done properly. What other measures would you take, Nyasha, to ensure that you do not end up in the same situation again in the future?
So I also learned that when you're renovating a project, you divide it into rooms. So if there's a budget for the kitchen, we try to stick to that budget at all constraints. So that's one thing I would also do differently with when it comes to renovations.
Okay, not just have it a lump sum as 100 grand per unit, but where is the 100 grand allocated and sticking to that budget?
Yes.
Okay, Sam, any questions?
All right, no, thanks, Daniel. And Nyasha, congratulations on the deal. And hopefully it's the first of many. But on my side, I just want to know what's next for Nyasha. What does the next deal look like? What's your plan from like a strategy point of view?
So the next thing is to venture into student accommodation. For now, since I'm starting, I'm looking for highly cash flow projects and definitely venture into developments in the future.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Nyasha, thank you so much for your time, ladies and gents. That was Nyasha. And like we've been saying, next week we are going to be announcing who is going to go through to the 19th of September, the final gala dinner, and find out if Nyasha will be amongst them as well. If you would like to see her, you can vote for her as well. So thank you so much, Nyasha, and keeping the ball rolling as we do close or looking to close off, ladies and gents. I'm going to bring on Mr. Craig Pitts joining us from Cape Town. Sir, how are you doing?
Very good, thanks. How's everyone doing?
Blessed, thank you. So we've got your presentation. When you need us to go to the next slide, you can just let us know, but you can proceed, hey?
Thank you so much, Daniel, and thanks for everyone. I'm sure it's been a long day, so I'll try to keep mine as quick as possible, but telling you about everything. You can move to the next slide, please, Daniel. Just a quick background on who I am. My name is Craig Pitts. I'm based in Cape Town, and I'm a civil engineer and 26 years old. I've been in Cape Town for about 8 years now since studying. So that's me in a nutshell, but we'll move towards the property now. So next slide, please, Daniel. So why property? I'm in civil engineering, which is obviously a lot of building and construction. So I'm in that industry. I like that industry. Property is a great way to build wealth around outside of your day-to-day before you becomes your day-to-day, if that is the long-term goal. But yeah, so essentially my one line as to why property is to build long-term wealth through income generating assets and value-added asset investments, essentially outside of your day-to-day. In the background, it's making you money. As I said, I'm a civil engineer, and I'm very, very passionate and interested in the property market and property investment and future innovation opportunities and property developments. My level of experience is very little. This is my first project, first property investment, and I bought that when I was 24 years old, so about 1.5 years ago. Next slide, please. So in a nutshell, just to go through my property before we get into the numbers and everything. So it's in Woodstock, Cape Town. I'm sure people are aware that it seems to be an up-and-coming area. It's a studio apartment. It was bought fully furnished. That was one of the conditions in my offer letter was for it to be the furniture to be included. And I found the property through an estate agent that I've dealt with, getting rentals and so forth over the years. So I knew him, and I discussed the different opportunities with him before I went for this one. So just to go into the strategy of the apartment had tenants in it. They had a 1-year lease, and they would have had 6 months left on the lease after the 3 months period after I submitted the offer. So my strategy was to continue that lease with the tenants in it. They seem to be paying on time, looking after the place. So I thought, let me make sure that I get an income for the first 6 months. As I'm sure everyone is aware, the first 6 months, a year, 2 years are the most critical. So first 6 months, I'd prefer to have an income guaranteed than to look into other areas of income. So I called that my settling period. That was the period that I allowed everything to settle, to work out how a loan works, the repayments, get a few repayments done before started making a few more risks. And in that time, I was able to do some research into different hosts, to look into doing Airbnb, and the numbers around that. So it gave me some time, as well as I wanted to start my Airbnb in December as opposed to middle of July or June. Everyone knows that June, July, August, even September is a quiet period. So yeah, my goal was to start Airbnb in December and hit the ground running with lots of bookings, which turned out to be the case. So that always helps as well. Next slide, please, Daniel. So some of the due diligence I did a lot of market research. I took random properties off Property 24 and ran them through my various spreadsheets that I created, looked at different options, different price brackets, different returns, different areas, and generated a few scenarios that would work financially. Yeah, so that was the research before looking into it, and that came in with the financial analysis as well, looking at various properties, running the numbers, etc. Then I wanted the property to be fully furnished. I didn't want to have to go spend a lot of money on furniture and stuff, because that adds up very, very quickly. With it being my first property and being very young, but didn't want to have to put in a whole lot of capital early on. So I was looking at a loan with 106 or 108% loan, so that everything was covered from transfer fees, lawyers' costs, etc., to be included. So my goal was to put nothing into it at all, and for the only times you need to put stuff in is running costs afterwards if income was lower than expenses. So that was my requirements. I wasn't looking at anything other than that. So it had to be furnished. It had to be had to get the loan of 106%, 108%, and had to be in an apartment block that allowed Airbnb. And with that, I kind of thought I didn't want to go into a place where I didn't have 24-hour security, because you can't have guests coming in Cape Town without 24-hour security. Well, you can, but it helps with your Airbnb listing. And then the other one was the demand. I needed to work out, is there demand for the property? Would it be booked up, etc.? So I got various reports from similar Airbnbs and looked at the numbers to see what occupancy they had, etc., like that. And then my biggest one was the risk mitigation. I'll discuss it a bit more later, but I said that the existing tenant was there, so I'd had my immediate income. I wouldn't take out the loan and be stuck with a bond repayment without having any funds to do it. So that was the first mitigation, the first hurdle, if you want to call it that. And then, as I said, I didn't want to put any money in, so I had whatever funds I had personally. I kept that as an emergency fund, just in case something did go wrong and I needed to sell within a few months. I'll be able to carry myself. Next slide, please, Daniel. So going into a bit more detail about the exit strategies, or as well as strategies. So I think once it had become an Airbnb, continue as an Airbnb, as this has the highest income potential. So that makes the most sense to become the most profitable the quickest. If that didn't work, I could fall back onto long-term rentals. I think everyone who knows what's happening in Cape Town is the rental market is going through the roof. You can't find a property to rent in Cape Town. It's very, very hard. And you list your property on any platform to be rented, and you'll have many inquiries very, very quickly. And then if that didn't work out, the third one would be sell the property. The day after I'd signed the offer letter, I had already got a inquiry to purchase the property that someone had seen it the day before for about 10 to 20% higher than what I'd offered. So that was a good thing to know, peace of mind. So yeah, going back to the third point is to sell the property, and that would obviously give you your 3 months that you'd probably have to cover expenses for. And as I said, I would have that capital on a personal note to be able to do that if it came to that. But the property market in Cape Town is very, very strong at the market in the moment, so I would have definitely had potential buyers, and a lot of them. But essentially, the long-term goal would be to hold the property and to build growth and wealth through this property, as to leverage it for other properties going forward. And I don't want to say gambling, I don't like using that word, but gambling on the fact that Woodstock is an up and coming area. There are apartment blocks going up every year. So hopefully the value of the property increases. Next slide, please, Daniel. So just to run through the deal, the process or overview. So before, I briefly discussed a few of these points, but before I did market research, I looked at the areas and decided of Woodstock, did lots of financial modeling, and fancy word of saying lots and lots of Excel spreadsheets. Then I looked for property that had I put in an offer for the under market value, and the existing tenants in place was a big one for me, just to ensure that settling in period was good, and then the other exit strategies and low risk entry. Then during the process, I learned a lot, as everyone does. The transfer process is not a simple or quick process. I think it's unfortunately a very long process, but a lot of hurdles to jump through, a lot of paperwork that you don't even know about, and very expensive lawyer fees. But all things you have to learn along the way. So that was interesting, learning the bond approval, going to different banks, getting them to approve the thing. Yes, and then afterwards was the Airbnb being launched. I'll go into a bit more detail about that and the numbers, and then just learning about all the different aspects of doing Airbnbs, the factors of it, the algorithms of Airbnb, and deciding to only go with Airbnb just because of the insurance on guests. Yeah, so the person that I decided to go with to host the property decided, or has had bad experiences with bookings.com, etc. like that. Nothing against them, but we decided to just stick with Airbnb for now, as the insurance was a big factor if a guest does break something or something like that. And I made sure that I went with a host that I had a hands-on involvement, as I'm a very practical person, obviously an engineer. So if something breaks, I'd rather go fix it myself after work or on the weekends, rather than paying someone to do it. So that was a big factor for me. Next one, please, Daniel. Okay, now to get into the numbers, the exciting stuff of a property investment. So the purchase price was 950,000. It was on the market for 1.1. I decided to go under it, with the condition that it was furnished. The furnish came with it. Then the deposit, as I said, it's 106% loan, so there was no deposit required. Renovation costs, there were none. So the total cost in terms of everything, purchase price, bond, transfer bond fees and lawyers fees, came to 1,007,000 rand. And I had the property evaluated the other day, and it was sitting at 1.45 million, as well as other properties in the building were going for 1.8. So that was from evaluation from the bank. If I looked at property 24, for example, there were 3 other properties within the same building same everything going for 1.8. So yeah, that number is a very conservative evaluation of the property. So your return of investment sits at 44%. However, it could almost be double that if you're looking at what the building's sales are going like. So within the last 6 months, it's had a cash flow, or if you want to call it profit, of 12,000 Rand. And this is huge for me, because within the first year, the property is already profitable, which is huge. It just launches you onto the next one even quicker, and you have to start putting in from your own pockets even earlier. So that's the numbers in a nutshell. Next one, please. Yeah, so that's essentially my property deal. A few photos from the property. It's a simple studio apartment, so nothing too fancy, but if the numbers work, the numbers work. I'm not too worried about the color of the wall if the numbers are coming in.
If the numbers work, the numbers work, and at 12,000 Rand cash flow, the numbers work, right?
Exactly. So on to the next one.
On to the next one. And talk to me about, why are you doing, I mean, you're quite young, right? Engineer, getting, and you're on track, I think, career-wise, to I think be quite wealthy, right, with your 9 to 5 and the likes. Why burden yourself with the property side of things as well?
I don't look at it as a burden. It's exciting. I think I enjoy the investment part of it, and the potential to renovate and flip houses in the future would be it's a big interest to me. But obviously, right now, it involves a huge capital to do such an activity. So until I can build the capital, I would like to go into that, which is obviously more interesting for me.
Okay, so build capital to go towards developing and flipping of properties. And that makes sense. So it's an apartment. What measures have you put in place to ensure, like in your sectional title, you almost protect your investment? Because sectional title investment goes past just the 4 walls that you've bought into. What measures have you put in place? As in, are you a trustee in the body corporate? Do you have any visions and plans towards doing that?
Yes, I'm currently in the process of joining it. I think my age is a limiting factor in that, but I am in the process of joining it for the next year.
Okay, cool.
So that will be a huge learning curve in itself.
No, it will be. Sam, do you have any questions for Craig?
Yeah, Craig, congratulations on your deal. Just a quick one to make sure I heard you correctly. It is purchased in your personal name, hey?
Yes, that's correct. I did do some research into putting it into a company, but for my first one, creating a company and learning all the other steps along the way, I thought it would be easier for my first one to put into my private name. It's obviously easier with payslips and things to create or get the loan privately, and then the next one is definitely in the process of creating a company to get the next one going.
The next one, I'm just hoping that from a purchase price and affordability point of view, you haven't limited yourself, but it's good that for future acquisitions, you are planning on using entities. And yeah, just as long as you have the right team around you, then you should be easily able to get that done here and get it over the line.
100%.
But yeah, definitely. So longer term, definitely look into that a little bit more.
Definitely.
For sure.
Okay, I think, Craig, thanks so much for your time, my brother. We appreciate you sharing your story. Always inspiring to see the youth of South Africa doing some cool stuff and playing their part in wealth creations as well. Hey, so thank you so much, my brother. Appreciate your time. Hey,
thank you so much. Thank you for your time as well.
Appreciate it. So, ladies and gents, the second last contestant we have for the day is going to be Mojalifa. I'm going to bring on Mojalifa to just check. Mojalifa, are you with us? Okay, so I'm going to try this side. Mojalifa, are you with us? Doesn't look like Mojalifa is with us, eh? Okay, there we go, Mojalifa. One more try. Hi, Mojalifa, can you hear us? I think you're on mute. Hi, Mojalifa, can you hear us? Okay, so apologies, ladies and gents. Mojalifa seems to be having internet issues. Sam, you are still with me, hey?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay, so we're going to go to the last contestant, ladies and gents, so it is going to be Mrs. Fiki. Mrs. Fiki, can you hear us?
Hi, Daniel. Yes, I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay, perfect, ma'am. So we're going to start your presentation. I'm just going to skip past Mojalifa's slide. So here we go. We're going to give you 15 minutes to go through it. If you need me to go to the next slide, you can just say next. And then we're going to take questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel. And to the fellow judges, my name is Vicky Fesi. I will get into it. I bought a house that was distressed and that was in an irreparable stage, and bought it on auction. And I then had hoped at the time to turn it into a tourism business. But due to COVID, I unfortunately had to relook at my plan, and the best option was for me to create multi-let, as there was a demand for multi-lets, particularly in the townships. I'm located in one of the townships in Cape Town, or I live in one of the townships in Cape Town, and the property was in that township. That is where I was born, that's where I grew up, and that is where I currently have another property. So this property is one of the last remaining standalone properties in the township. And I had hoped, as I said, to turn it into a tourism-related business, but unfortunately had to turn it into a multi-let. The idea initially was to have a communal house, which was a shared facilities, especially the kitchen and the bathrooms. And with COVID, I had to then rethink and to remodel the property into self-contained. So it had been initially approved as SF2 residential. But once I had then sectioned it, it had to be rezoned, and then it took another complexion. But I could still use it whilst I was applying for rezoning. So in terms of what I do, as I'm saying, I'm a full-time mother, and yeah, with 2 kids. And why I purchased the property? I purchased the property, as I said, to go into my own business in tourism, because that is, the sector that I've always operated in. And once I bought it, we had to remodel it into multi-lets. I have, experience in, tourism. That is why I wanted to do tourism, but I've now since gained experience in terms of the building, the construction of the property, because I was fully involved as a project manager in the remodeling process. Thank you. Next slide, Daniel. That was the state of the property when I bought it, which was before its various stages of the property. As I said, it's a property that had been referred to by the City of Cape Town as problem property. And so the water had been disconnected, and they had reconnected it their own way. The people who used to live in the property when I bought it on auction, also there were illegal electricity connections. And yeah, so once I bought it, I also had to do an application with the Heritage Western Cape as per the City of Cape Town's compliance regulations. The property had been built in 1945. It fell, as I'm saying, into a state So I had to, apart from the plans, the submissions for the plans, part of as one of the conditions for the approval was the submission of an approval certificate by Heritage Western Cape. That on its own is a process. It's got its own financial implications, but I went through that, and I was able to, as I said, start the process. So during photographs, as you can see, it was whilst I was renovating the house. The house wasn't built from scratch, as I said. It was, as they've always said to me, a brownfields project, which it's a house that I had to remodel. It has since been remodeled into 10 self-contained units. Self-contained, each unit has got its own kitchenette with its own sink and its own drain, and each unit has got its own shower and toilet and running water. And there's prepaid water in each, and there's prepaid electricity, as well as hot water, in the showers. So the properties are not left empty. I decided to install a kitchenette in each one, and also install a cupboard, because I realized that most of the young people who were coming, to look for a place were people who were, young professionals, people who had recently graduated, who needed a place that at least was partly furnished, so that they can either move in with a bed. There have been situations where I've had to even loan some of my own furniture, which is in storage, to some of the new tenants that are coming in, especially those coming in from places that are outside of Cape Town, where people have to purchase furniture. So I always offer to loan them some of my furniture, for free, that is in storage, so that, they can be able to, with time, get into purchasing their own stuff. The deal, as they say, I bought the house in 2016. It was converted into rental flats, and in my simple terms, I'm not a financial person. All I can say is that it is profitable. The numbers are there. I bought it for 360. Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Next slide, yeah. The numbers, there they are. It was bought for 317 cash on auction, and of course paid for the conveyancing fees that added up, I think, to about 345. Then in order for me to renovate, I had to use my own funds, and also to get a micro loan. The micro loan, or what they call the microfinance loan for affordable housing, because I fall into that sector, was 745,000 rands, which was from iBuild, and my own funds was 600,000. So the total costs, including everything, was 1.9. The valuation or sale price, if I were to, sell it, and fortunately I've got an evaluation from Rosen. In 2024, the valuation was between 3.4 to 4 million. And they've since provided me with another one, which is, up from 3.4 and up from, 4.4 million. The profit that I could make if I were to sell it is between 1.8 to 2 million rands. The next slide. That is the property. When I bought it, it looked like that, but at the time when I had finished, it looked worse than that. Currently the property, we saw the pictures previously as it is. It is fully let, fully functional. And I've since acquired an adjoining property that used to belong to municipality. Right now, this morning, I was on site because we're busy with a land surveyor, as we are finalizing that property. which is an adjoining property. Together, the three properties, the one property, the original property, is 385 square meters, 485 square meters, and the adjoining property is 345 square meters. They make together, as they are going to be consolidated by the municipality, they are going to make just slightly less than 930, I think, square meters. We do have draft plans, or I do have draft plans that have been compiled, which will yield between the two properties 32 to 36 units. Those draft plans, they depend on the consolidation that is going to be done by the municipality, which we are currently busy with. On the first property, I'm fully compliant with all the required compliances, which is plumbing, glazing, electrical, fire, and I've since submitted all the compliances to the City of Cape Town. I received an email confirming that they've got all the compliances and are circulating to all the departments in order for me to acquire a compliance an occupancy certificate. The occupancy certificate is the one that will enable me to approach the bank and for the bank to be able to assist in refinancing the property for the full development of the consolidated property. I am poised right now for the next phase. Of course, we know the delay, or we're waiting for the occupancy certificate. As soon as that is issued, I'll be able to submit to the bank, as I have been already to the bank, and the occupancy certificate, of course, is the one that is going to unlock the next phase of the deal. Thank you very much.
Awesome, Mrs. Fiki. Extremely inspiring. Hey? And I think from your round one, you made it abundantly clear that going into that deal, there's a lot of learnings, right? A lot of things you didn't see coming and the like. So I think my question to you is twofold. I mean, the pressure that you were feeling when you were, can you talk through, were you prepared, for people that might not have heard your round one, were you prepared going into this deal? Did you know how much everything would cost? Did you have all the funding available? Because some of the funding you spoke about is almost devilish interest rates, hey? Can you talk to us of going into the opportunity when you realized what this was actually? Were you prepared?
Oh, Daniel, you don't want me to let the tears flow, because I still ask myself whether I didn't bite off more than I can chew. Because we come from the township, and we always see people building without plans, building plans. Starting with that, we don't even consider things like zoning, and rezoning was to me a foreign term up until I came through this deal. I bought this property. It was one, as I said to you, one of the last remaining pieces or freestanding properties in the township. All township spaces are spoken for. And of course, I bought it, and once I bought it, I didn't know that I'm also buying the liability with regards to the debts, the municipal debts of the previous owner. That on its own became a challenge, because I had to navigate that path in order for me to be able to get the municipality to clear those rates to zero. But still, with COVID, I couldn't evict the previous tenants, because of, as we know, there's rights contained, or there's rights for people who live in properties or tenants. So post-COVID, I discovered that I've got a debt of about 28,000 rands that I have to pay, because the property was now in my name. So I had to pay a debt that it had nothing to do with me. That was the first one. And that nearly was, I thought post-COVID, Fiki, you've got the money, you're going to, restore this property. Municipality says, no, before you do anything, before you approve your plan, clear out your rates. The rates are 28,000. That was my first heart attack. I cleared that. Then we came to the next one, Heritage Western Cape. Before we approve, get the heritage done. I've got to go back to the architect. Architect, can you help me with this? Yes, I need so much money in order to redraw and do this and that for heritage. That was a second heart attack. The third heart attack, we're building. It is the contractors that give you boundless heart attacks. Those ones are the worst. And then we finish the property. I'm looking for occupancy certificate. The municipality says, no, you didn't rezone, go and rezone. With rezoning, I have to get a town planner. The town planner says, yes, I will do it for you, but I need 90,000. I need half of it, 50%, which is 45,000 rents. Put it on the table and I'm going to start your job for you. That, I didn't have that money, Daniel. I didn't have, because I had pocketed myself building the property. And it threw me into a stressful situation that at some point, so it became a cycle of at every turn I have to pay. I mean, I'm still paying even right now because I was slapped yesterday with another bill for the land surveyor. The land surveyor is on my cost. The city is saying, no, we will sell you the property at so much, but every other thing, the conveyancing cost, the surveyor cost, and everything is your baby. I cannot argue anymore with the city because council has already passed the resolution to say we will sell the property. Why must they sell me the property when I'm actually responding to the municipal mandate to create affordable housing? That is a debate that I'm going to take after, because fortunately, I'm a deputy chairperson of the township, developers forum. It's more a rental forum for landlords, for rental developers in the townships. And that is a debate and a discussion or a subject that we have to take, that if municipalities are requiring for us to assist them to create affordable rental housing, they should actually look at means under their land release policies to actually assist and enable us. Yes, we understand there are other incentives, but there has to be a way, because yes, it is my property. I am managing the rentals. I will get the ultimate value, but on the other hand, there is a mandate that we are responding to. And all those things, we are never told. Everybody tells us that it's sexy to actually build. Everybody, especially in the townships, everybody knows, it's actually right now, it's a national anthem. Township properties, backyard rentals, everybody wants to do it. We are not told about the liabilities. We are not told about the compliances. We are not told about the costs that go with a venture into, into that part. Yes, when you made me do the exercise right now, thanks to actually Sapin, because without me being involved in this, I wouldn't have the idea, the forward idea of the fact that in 5 years' time, I'll be sitting somewhere in in Coffee Bay with my legs up, drinking tequilas and cocktails, happy that somebody is looking after my property and generating, generating income for me. I'm looking forward to that. But right now, I'm not happy because I still have to pay the bond with iBuild. The bond is prime plus 5, which doesn't make me happy at all. And it's not fair because they get their money or some of their money from National Housing Finance Corporation, NHFC. NHFC gives them the money to loan to us. And they are more like a middleman that is actually strangling us in terms of, instead of, I'm going to say it, yes, it doesn't make me popular, but it's something that we have to say, because it's not only about me, it's about many other people who are actually being strangled by the middlemen who call themselves microfinanciers. And the banks are not also making it easy for us. You know, Daniel, I can write a thesis about it. I'm just happy that Sapin put me through this process, and whether I go to the next round or not, thank you so much to you guys. I mean, you know, thank you so much to you guys. I've learned so much through this process, and I will take whatever I've learned into my next project. And I can tell you, you know, you will be here, and I will come and testify about my next project.
Yeah, we will be here, Mrs. Fiki. Always inspiring hearing your story. Hey, extremely inspiring. I'm not sure, Sam, do you have a final question for Mrs. Fiki?
Oh, Mrs. Fiki, incredible story. One thing I will say is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. After all, you will at some point be sitting at the beach and just enjoying it again.
No more heart attacks.
Yeah. So
I can't say coffee.
So definitely just the persistence is very inspiring, and obviously dealing with all the challenges are huge commitments to you. And I don't have any questions, but I do wish you all the best. Hey?
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Mrs. Fiki, thank you so much. Always good hearing from you, ma'am. May God bless you, and hope the next project is so much smoother. Ladies and gents, that was our final contestant for today. So in closing, ladies and gents, please do visit our website for tickets and the likes. They are selling out quite quickly. And any announcements, if you want to hear whether Mrs. Fiki has made it through to the 19th of September, we will be announcing it on our pages and our websites. The overall winner wins a cash prize of 100,000 Rand in cash, which is the biggest prize money in Investor of the Year history. Please give us a follow, as well as give us a like on this video, wherever you are watching from YouTube, Facebook, wherever it might be. Please give us a follow and like as well. It helps with the algorithm to get us out there. If you are a corporate and you want to align your brand with some of the leading experts in the property sector, you can email Alani at sapropertynetwork.com. But ladies and gents, remember, where credibility meets opportunity. Thank you so much, and join us for more Investor of the Year content. Thank you so much.